Uh-oh. Bye-bye.
No, how are you doing all those guys? Tell me.
Chico.
Oh, I'm ready to get you. Oh, I'm ready to get you.
Roblox is a strange platform. I'm in a bit of a weird spot with the platform as a whole, as the ratio of actual good games to just slop is about 1 to 10. I can admit that there are games with a lot of passion and love put behind them that are being hosted on Roblox, but there's also soulless slop. And most of the time, it's hard to find good games on Roblox when the games that Roblox pushes out onto its front page is brain-dead mush. This is where Roblox game jams come in. Roblox game jams are a great way to find hidden gems underneath all the lifeless sludge. This goes for game jams in general. Through all the corporate microtransaction-ridden quote-unquote games that are pushed into our faces, game jams and indie games as a whole are great escapes from Call of Duty Black Ops fucking 85. One of these Roblox game jams is the annual Roblox Gnome Jam. As the name suggests, the Roblox Gnome Jam is an annual game jam hosted by YouTuber GnomeCode, known for tutorials on Roblox Studio scripting. The Gnome Jams are a great thing. Most if not all of the games we get from them are good in their own way. I don't know, I don't fucking play them all. But in 2024, for the 4th annual Gnome Jam, a game was submitted simply called Brett's 24/7, made by Roblox users RGB and Two Shoes. To the average non-clinically online person, it might seem like an unsuspecting farming simulator, but there's much more underneath the hood. The description reads like this.
Welcome to Brett's 24/7, where you take your... this fucking voice. Welcome to Brett's 24/7, where you take the farming business in your own hands. Upgrade your farm to be the biggest and best it can be. Create your own robots to do the work for you. Ignore the screaming. It's not worth your time. Have fun!
Right off the bat, there's something wrong. There's something that feels out of place in an otherwise innocent-looking farming simulator. But alas, the only way we can find out what's in the letter is to open the envelope. The game starts off with formalities.
Oh, a new farmer has arrived. My name's Brett, not Brett. Don't get mixed up. Welcome to your brand new farm. This is where you'll be staying for the next 5 days, all in the name of Brett, of course. You see that sack of wheat by the supplies table? Hold the E key on your keyboard to collect some wheat seeds. Great, you've collected the wheat. Now go over to the wheat field outside of the farm and hold E above your desired wheat plot to plant your wheat seeds. Let me open the door for you.
The beginning of the game seems pretty simple, including the gameplay loop. You grab seeds from the barn, plant them on each of the 4 plots of land, and then pick up a water bucket, go over to the river, and fill it up so you can water the seeds you planted. Rinse and repeat. Once we finish, Brett talks to us again.
Incredible! Your talent gives me strong hope for the future. Anyways, continue growing wheat in the other plots of land.
With Brett's instruction, we finish off planting the rest of the plots until we can go to bed. Our surroundings are pretty barren. The only things around us being the barn, our plots of land, a van, a couple signs, and the extensive stretch of trees. No signs of civilization or other life. Besides this fucking loaf, of course. Day 1 sets a very charming, almost threatless portrayal of what we're about to experience. There's no build-up, there's no intro, we just plodded into this barn and we farmed the day away. After planting the seeds, we go to bed.
Wakey wakey, it's time to harvest the wheat. Instead of waking you up in the middle of the night, I decided to wake you up during the evening so you can see what you're doing. However, the wheat isn't the best quality, so this process should be at night. Anyways, this step is really simple. Grab that rake beside the wheelbarrow by holding the E key. Don't keep me waiting. If you lose track of what you need to do, check the notes menu to see what has to be done. Harvesting can mean more than just raking wheat.
On the note provided, our instructions are pretty simple. Harvest the wheat, load it into the truck, and then we can head back to bed. It seems pretty simple enough.
Listen to me. He doesn't want you to know about me, but you don't need to just listen. The night's are coming, it's going to be bloodshed. If you want to survive, threads in this page, or else face the wrath of what's to come. I will help you. Brett is just useless.
During the nights, the gameplay loop changes. Instead of planting and watering the seeds, we're instead given a rake and we have to go to each of the 4 plots and rake the crops.
Awesome. Now that harvesting is complete, load it up into the truck. Head over to the red truck beside the farm and you'll see the 4 boxes of wheat you harvest. Make sure to secure the boxes by giving them space in the boot by the truck, simply by dragging them.
Once the plot has been raked, a box of wheat will spawn by the van where we have to load it in.
And that's that. Nothing left for today. Tomorrow will be interesting and new, so be ready for day. Have a good old rest now. You deserve it after all that hard work. Hello? You had a good rest, pun intended?
No.
Back to farming you go. For a tip, I say you plant all the wheat first before watering. It'll make the trip easier in the long run.
Day 2 is more or less the same, but after planting seeds in 2 plots of land, Brett interrupts us.
Oh, I nearly forgot something. Leave those 2 plots for now. This is more important. I assume you've noticed the wooden boards covering the upstairs, haven't you? Well, I have something to show you. Take this axe and hold E near that ladder. Tired of holding E all the time? Well, this is your solution. Upgrades. They'll be very useful in mass production. Simply click on the laptop upstairs and browse the catalog until you find a cheap enough upgrade. It seems that you're low on cash. I personally advise you to get a helper bot. They are very useful for bread production and are dirt cheap. Wheatbot specific is good because it can plant your seeds for you. I had one upstairs but disassembled it after. You don't need it now.
Now that we can use the laptop, we have 2 options that can help us harvest crops more efficiently and speed up the cycle. Helper bots and upgrades. Let's see what's an upgrade. Oh. Brett told us to get a wheat bot, but we don't really have a choice because it's all we can afford.
Wheatbot, good choice. While you water the crops, he'll do the rest of the wheat for you.
So now that we have wheat bot to plant the seeds for us, all we really need to do now is water the seeds.
Another job well done. Wheatbot looks perfectly fine condition, which is also great. They usually break apart easily, however that seems to not happen. Well, go to bed now and make sure to wake up late. Night.
Talking duty. This night should be the easiest. Wheatbot is on patrol, so stay out of the path. You can stay in the farmhouse if that's a safe place. However, Brett will catch you not walking if you stay for too long. He hates people who slack off.
Unlike night 1, Brett isn't with us. Our objective stays the same, but not without some form of company. Wheatbot is now roaming around. While harvesting the wheat, you'll have to stay out of Wheatbot's lights. Luckily for us, he's dumb as hell, so we harvest the wheat as quickly as possible and pack it all into the truck. Something is wrong with these helper bots, and it doesn't help that we're bound to get more in the future. Going to bed, there's a picture posted on our wall that wasn't there before. A pair of eyes that I would assume was the thing that killed the chicken. Rest in pieces. After each night, I'll be ranking all of the helper bots we come across based on how fun they are to survive and how difficult they are to survive. Why? Because it's fucking fun and I need to get the video's length up. Wheatbot goes in B tier. All he does is roam around and chase you down if you happen to be in his gaze. But I'm going to be super lenient on Wheatbot as they're pretty much the tutorial boss. They're not supposed to be super complex and difficult, they're here to teach beginners what's going on.
Wow, you got quite the amount of money from yesterday's shipment. Congratulations! We'll let Wheatbot deal with plants of the wheat for now. No need for you to do that anymore. Huh? Wheatbot seems to have deactivated itself last night. I guess we'll have to reboot his system. Simply just walk up where Wheatbot currently is and hit the back of his head to reactivate him.
It seems that after what happened last night, Wheatbot somehow shut down. He doesn't have anything to do during the night as all the seeds have been planted during the day. So why was he activated at all?
Perfect. He's back up and running just how he should be. Now back to work we go. Try not to smack Wheatbot too many times. You might regret it. Anyways, while we let Wheatbot do his thing, you should check the shop and buy some stuff that will help us. I think with your budget, you should be able to buy at least 3 things. That includes upgrades.
Checking the laptop, we're greeted with an announcement.
Wheatbot has been taken permanently off sale for reasons that will remain undisclosed.
Man, I wonder why. The upgrades page now actually hosts something. Those 2 things being a charger and goddamn Windows 11. We can only afford the charger right now, so we buy it. Checking the helper bots page, we're able to buy 2 things. The Ripper and the Beater, which is on sale.
Good choice of purchases. These will be necessary for the expansion of the farm. The charger will increase the productivity of all the robots' work. The Ripper will rip the farming soil so it's easier to water and harvest later. And Beater will... I guess we'll find out? Anyways, enough chit-chat already. We need to set up the Ripper. You'll be able to drag him, then hold E to deploy him and watch him work. But to be able to drag him, we need to set up the wires. To do this, go to each pole around the corner, hold E, and then click the icon hovering around the screen. Simple. It's like that DVD screensaver. I would be so hyped when you hit the corner.
Tasked with setting up the Ripper, something is already off. Beater just seems to be following us. Brett doesn't know what he should be doing, so it could just be that Beater has no objective as of now, so we set up Ripper instead. All you have to do is click the bread icon that bounces around your screen. But this will be very important for later.
Looking good. Ripper is now prepared. Now the plots will be faster to grow than ever before. Also, it just seems Peter is just following you. He's supposed to beat the dough when it's about to be baked, so why is he in the farming process? He was his opponents though. We shouldn't be complaining. Anyways, here's the watering can. You start watering. I did hear now that flies might appear when we are watering. I think it's just the summer heat.
So now that we have Wheatbot and Ripper taking care of the wheat and soil, once again, all we have to do is water the plots. Unlike the previous days, we now have more signs of life. In the distance, black figures stand in the fog, simply just watching us.
Wow, look at your farm. You're doing amazing. At this stage, I'm surprised no one has robbed or attacked yet, because all this equipment and profit is worth a lot of money. Well, let's go to sleep. You've had to learn a lot about robotics today. I'm talking? What are you talking about? I've always been talking. Don't you remember? Is everything okay? You don't seem to be doing so lately.
Hey kid. Yeah, of course I'm talking to you. You're the only one here. You liking the video so far? Well, maybe you should consider joining my Discord server. We have totally normal people. We do things sometimes. Just give away. You should like join. The link in the description. Join it right now. All right, let's get back to the.
Physical alteration. No pressures on the line. Ripper is not above the ground, but on the. Don't let it catch you. If he does reverse the pin, get on it. Peter will come close to you right at the end of the day. He's not as friendly as he seemed. Tip the notepad if he confronts you.
On our third night, we now have 2 more obstacles in our way. The 2 new helper bots we bought, Ripper and Peter. Ripper will randomly grab you through the ground at any time, and to escape you'll have to complete the same minigame that you did when setting Ripper up. And Peter will randomly slide across your screen, indicated by an audio cue. You'll have to flip up your page as fast as possible when Peter shows up. When together, the 3 helper bots we have at the moment make Night 3 a much more difficult challenge than the previous nights. But the objective has stayed the same. We harvest crops, load them into a truck, and then go to sleep. We now have 2 more helper bots to plot on the tier list of doom and despair, Peter and Ripper. Starting off with Peter, easy A tier. I love Peter's mechanic. It's super unique, and actually taking advantage of the notepad and it just being guidance is pretty genius. I do really appreciate that it unlocks your mouse for you so you don't have to press Q yourself when you hear the audio cue. All you have to do is flip up the page. While I think it does take away from the difficulty, I don't trust my reaction time. Now Ripper, I'm going to have to go C tier. Other than just grabbing you randomly from the ground, they don't really pose that much of a threat or a challenge to go up against. Granted, the minigame is easy as hell. I think a way Ripper could have been improved is if the minigame lasted for multiple waves, instead of just clicking on the bread once and then Ripper leaving. It would refresh for about 3 to 4 times and then Ripper leaves, adding to both the difficulty and the suspense. You can also move while Ripper has you in its clutches, once again taking away from the difficulty. I think it would add so much more to Ripper as a threat if, let's just say you are being chased by Wheatbot and then out of nowhere Ripper catches you. Now that you're stuck in place, you're vulnerable to Wheatbot and now have to act as fast as possible to escape Ripper. But I'm no game developer, so whatever.
Oh my. What happened in here? Was this one of the helper bots? Or was this you? What the hell did you do to this place? What did you do? Do you have any idea how long I've been trying to keep myself afloat in this petty world? I have sank into the business just for you to do this? Okay then. I mean, at least you're still trying to help out? You seem willing to buy burner and the water mite, which will be useful in some cases, right? I thought that charging base would have been more effective than only being useful for a single robot. What a waste. I can't get over what happened earlier. Let me just have a rest. I need to process what happened.
Upon waking up, the barn is in shambles. The word lie is written all over the barn. The window frames are broken, everything is in a mess. This most likely was our doing. After realizing that Brett is using us, making us survive literal death machines for his own gain, it made us snap. Going to the laptop, we can now buy the 2 other helper bots, the water mite and burner. Now that we've bought these, we pretty much don't need to interject at any part in the farming process. Wheatbot plants the seeds, Ripper rips the soil, and now Watermite waters the crops. We don't need to help with anything. The only problem is that Watermite is kind of fucking brain dead. For the majority, if not the entirety of day 4, he just stands there doing absolutely nothing. leaving you to water the crops for yourself. I don't know if this was part of the game or if this just happened in my run, but I fucking hate this guy. And with the Water Mite and Burner being the only things you bought today, you kinda just wasted your damn money. The number of black figures in the distance is now increased by a ton. I have no idea what these things are, if they're even relevant, so like, that's cool. After a while, Brett simply instructs us to
Just go to bed.
So following Brett's instruction, we go to sleep.
Final push. This is it. The moment. I found that action used on your second day, which you can use tomorrow. But for now, don't stare at Burner. The heat acts as a time, and watch it for Water Mites. If you harvest the weed it's watering, it'll injure you severely.
Night 4 is easily the most difficult and stressful night in the game. Almost as if it's the final night and it's supposed to be hard. Holy shit! We have another 2 threats for us to handle. The Water Mites and Burner. The Burner is pretty straightforward, all you have to do is just not look at it. Don't make eye contact with the Burner and you're good as gold. The Water Mite on the other hand is a fucking hate crime. The Water Mite will randomly go over to a plot and you can't harvest the wheat when the Water Mite is there or else it'll hurt you. The thing is, there's no way to know if the Water Mite is at a plot. No indication, no sign, no warning, no nothing. It's a goddamn gambling game. And if the Water Mite gets you, it obstructs your vision for an absurdly long amount of time and your heartbeat is so loud you can't hear anything, including the audio cues like Weedbot's droning. This is the most pressure put on us in this game. Not only are there 2 more threats, but we have 1 extra instruction. We have to heat up all of the wheat for tomorrow. So we harvest the wheat like usual, pack into the van, and then heat it up. Oh, and did I mention there's 4 more plots now? Yeah. Remember during the day when we bought those extra plots and had to go plant seeds on those 2? Yeah, we also have to harvest those. So we have 5 helper bots on the loose, an extra instruction we have to follow, and 4 more plots we have to harvest. All of these been co-interjected and make for 1 damn hard final night. Once all of the wheat has been harvested and packed, we can head over to Burner and complete a minigame to heat up all the wheat. And afterwards, we can go to bed. Water Mite is going in F tier. I fucking hate Water Mite with my entire existence. Not only did he not do his job during the day, but he's a goddamn pest during the night. No indication of whether he's at a plot or not. When he gets you, he obstructs your vision and limits your hearing. He is easily the most insufferable helper bot in this game. But that's good. All of the helper bots so far haven't been extremely difficult or as much of a challenge as I would like them to be, but Water Mites? Water Mite is perfect when it comes to difficulty. I have no notes. If he was an insta-kill, I would say he would need some sort of indication or if he's at a plot or not, but he doesn't insta-kill, so he's perfectly fine as is. I still hate him though. I know I did say I would be ranking based on difficulty, but Water Mite is easily the hardest helper bot to evade. Burner, on the other hand, would go to B tier. Despite having an extremely simple and, at face value, easy mechanic, you can just turn around for a nanosecond and a singular pixel of your screen will be facing Burner, and you will die. I cannot count the amount of times I turned around for a ballsack hair of a split second just get mauled by Burner out of nowhere. Burner is easy if you don't look at him, but his engage range is absolutely insane. Still, he's not that much of a threat if you have common sense. And Brett goes in S tier. You know why? Because he does nothing that makes me smile. He only gets you to stay in the barn for too long. But I'm so good at video games and I'm not a pussy, so he never got me. Thanks,
Wow.
Brett. Waking up, we spawn in a white void. We hold an axe, the only things around us being our bed, the bag of wheat, the table, and the water bucket. And right ahead, Weedbot. We walk up to Weedbot and hit him. Going further, we then go up to the 4 plots, and the other 3 helper bots. Better, Ripper, and Water Mites. And then finally, Burner in the van. We're then greeted with a news article. Earlier today, renowned farmer Brendan Brettfulls, an owner of the Brett Farming Corporation, was found guilty of murdering his newest employee. The employee was almost rumored to have been severely and mentally ill and often had hallucinations. The identification of the employee will not be revealed for the victim's family's peace. The Brett Farming Company was shortly after permanently shut down, and the founder was placed into trial for gross negligence, psychological and physical torture, and many more other crimes that will not be mentioned here. Brendan Fulls was given the sentence of life in prison with no probation and a £70 million fine over the company's severe and unpaid debts. More information will be revealed and provided as soon as evidence is proven or given to us. On our first playthrough, Brett's 24/7 is as straightforward as you can get. You work at a farm being guided by a sentient loaf of bread. During the night you have to survive robots that want to kill you, and at the end you finish off the cycle. But there's little bits and pieces scattered around like breadcrumbs, pun absolutely intended, throughout the game that give us a much larger grasp of the true events of the game. Especially the newspaper article at the end, which pretty much turns around any interpretation into something concrete. The newspaper article mentions a worker of the Bread Farming Corporation that was killed while also being extremely mentally ill and had hallucinations. We are that worker. The events of Brett's 24/7 is one big hallucination, but also a depiction of real-life events. Brett's 24/7 is a much more colorful, brighter representation of what's going on in the real world. Our boss, Brandon Fulls, is represented as a talking loaf named Brett, which is backed up by what Brett says on day 3.
I'm talking? What do you mean? I've always been talking.
We see Brandon as a talking loaf, and underneath the cheery demeanor, the truth slips through. The newspaper also mentions that Brandon was placed into trial for gross negligence, psychological and physical torture, amongst other things. This is represented through the helper bots. The helper bots that are out for us at night are a much more realistic depiction of our experience working at the farm. A horrible working environment where we are neglected and used for money. We see everything like this as a way of coping. Not only are we severely ill and hallucinate, but what we see through Brett's 24/7 is a much more digestible illustration of what our character is genuinely going through in the real world. And when we couldn't take it anymore, we decided to rebel. The ending is a delineation of us thrashing Brandon's property, his business, and inevitably him. But in an act of self-defense, Brandon would end up killing us. There's also a bunch of other details and additions that are either just too vague for me to come up with anything, or just don't really add anything to the overall story, such as the Shadow Man we see in the distance as the game progresses. I'm one to believe this represents the player's mental state deteriorating as we moved on. Throughout the game, the more and more we progress, the more of these Shadow Men show up. Our mental state has strayed so far from being stable that the more we go on, there's nothing we can do about it, or at least not at the moment. And when we get close to doing something about it, Brett instructs us to go to bed. I could be overthinking the narrative of the game just a tad, as this is simply a game jam entry and also equates to a proof of concept for what's to come, but I digress. This is also proof that farming horror works. Not everything has to be the same old copy and paste dance again, because when something new is thought of, it has a big window to slap. Just like almost every other pun intended video on this godforsaken platform, aka Slop, I managed to secure an interview with RGB, the creator of the game, who now makes other non-Roblox related projects under the new name of Azonix. So for the rest of this video, you're gonna see our full interview. Enjoy. What inspired you and Two Shoes to make a farming horror game?
Well, the game was made for the Gnome Jam, and as I'm sure you know, the theme was that we were given 2 random assets for the game. I got the Brett image and a barn, which of course was used in the game, so that's why the farming side of the game exists. However, the horror, I honestly forgot. I believe it was because I was kinda interested in bait and switch games at the time, like Submarine Simulator, and wanted my own game in that genre.
Oh, gotcha. So that's what the bread roll thing means at the end. Number 2. What was the hardest part about development, and what was the most fun part?
Hardest part was me and Two Shoes cramming the final sections of the game. For context, I believe the last day and the quote-unquote boss night were made in the same day. And I once stayed up until 4 AM doing final touches once, which led to us replacing the true final night. However, the funnest part for me was easily the jump scares. It was the first thing I had worked on, and was really fun coming up with ways each character could kill. Plus, I was experimenting with some code I had made to create 3D GUI to put characters in front of the player when the death sequence played, so that was quite nice.
Despite all of that, the final night is still one of the most stressful things ever. It's great. Number 3. Were there any inspirations that helped create the game?
Well, FNAF firstly, but I think the main one was Submarine Simulator. Even Solar Mechanics, sorry about that. And I think Far From Land, but if I had to be honest, I can't really see where I got it from. The farming side of the game, I think I made on the fly.
Oh cool. Far From Land is a pretty deep cut. I don't see anyone talk about it anymore. Number 4. What was your favorite helper bot to make and conceptualize?
I did make a single one. All of them were done by Two Shoes. But I love the design of Beaterbot the most, even though I think he was done dirty by his mechanics.
I quite liked Beater's mechanic. It was fun how it actually took advantage of the notepad instead of it just being for guidance. Number 5. If you could change one thing about the game, what would it be?
The reason I say that is because he has a really intimidating design. Yet he was the one chosen for the notepad and fly swatting mechanic. the reason that mechanic even exists is to give him a purpose in the day. If I had to change something about the game, it would be how you collect water. It's really weird that you have to go to this one specific spot and hold E to collect. I'd rather you step in the water, click and collect. But I was dumb back then and didn't know what bad game design was.
Oh yeah, it doesn't help that the Watermite absolutely hated me and did nothing on most of my runs. Number 6. Do you have any plans for Brett in the future, or is it all set in stone as of now?
Brett's ownership is Two Shoes now, as he's the only Brett dev still on Roblox. Not really official, but he owns the game's group now, meaning he owns the game too. I imagine he's still gonna use Brett in Outbreak, so that's cool. If I had ownership, I doubt I'd reuse any Brett stuff or make another Brett game, but there was a planned remake, but I don't know the state it's in. Only Wheatbot and Baker were finished, both by me. Main point is most likely Brett's set in stone, but cameos and references might appear.
Oh yeah, excited for quite literally anything remotely Brett related in the future. Number 7. Do you have any advice for anyone who wants to make or create anything similar, or even participate in game jams as a whole?
I don't really know what to say about game dev advice that much, sorry. But I will say, any person who's participating in game jams, especially Roblox game jams, triple check that the game jam is actually a trustworthy one. I'd recommend knowing codes for a Roblox style game jam, and just enjoy making a game. Only focusing on the grand prize will more likely just make you upset all the time while making and waiting during the game. You should come out of it proud of what you've done. Rest is definitely one of those games for me, even with all its flaws. Maybe shouldn't say the same with Untitled 36 though.